Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matthew Conger, and you are watching The Small Chef 11. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 crazy things that I've seen or done in a kitchen, in a professional kitchen. So, further ado, let's get started. We'll be starting off with number 5, and what happened here was this customer was very upset about the price of the oysters that we were selling, and these oysters were going for $3 a pop. And so it was $3 per oyster, that means. So each one was $3. So if you got a half dozen, that would be $18. You see what I'm saying? So what happened was he got like a dozen oysters and he wasn't happy with the price. And our bartenders always made sure they disclose the price of each oyster that someone was going to order. And what happened was this guy was very upset when he got his bill at the end of his meal and started yelling at the bartender. I didn't know this because I was in the kitchen. Then the bartender, because the customer asked for a manager and I was the one there being the manager for the time and being the chef, and I went out to the customer, started talking to him, and he started yelling at me, and he was yelling at me because the oysters were too high. He said these are the most ridiculous prices he's ever seen for an oyster. So I could just go down the street and get cheaper oysters. And I was like, well, if you really feel that way, you can do that. But sir, you ate all of these oysters, so you kind of need to pay for them. So he made a big scene. He started yelling at me more. And I said, sir, either you pay for the oysters and get out, or I have to call the cops and you still pay for the oysters and you get out. And he did end up paying for the oysters, and he never came back, thank God. But it was just very embarrassing and very crazy at the same time because there were other customers at the bar and in the dining room area. So it was kind of crazy, you know, when someone's yelling at you in front of everybody. Now we're going to be moving on to number 4. So what happened here was I was quitting a job. And typically when you quit in a restaurant business or anywhere else in the industries, you usually give your 2 weeks and then you leave and everything's okay. Well, this one I burnt a bridge pretty doggone hard. And what happened was at this place, before we closed, every hour we'd lose one person cooking. Until the last hour of our shift, we would have one person cooking for that last hour. And there was only 4 or 3 people cooking at a time when it was busy. But anyways, I ended up that night, I was going to be the last person to leave. And this was the bar menu, but the bar menu had the full menu. So it started to get busy. So usually it didn't get that busy. You'd have like 4 or 5 tickets, it was nothing. But this night it just got busy for some weird reason, and I had about probably 15 to 20 tickets I was working on. And, you know, I don't work on them all at once. But anyways, the manager came up to me and said, pulled down a ticket from the other side and said,
I need this ticket right now.
I said, okay, can you just give me like 5 minutes? There's more tickets in front of it. She's like,
okay.
And then like a minute later, I kid you not, she came back and started yelling at me again. She's like,
I need this ticket now.
And I was like, okay, I'm working on it. I was getting pretty frustrated at this point. So I was still cooking and getting things done. And then she came up to me one last time and said,
I need this ticket now.
And that just pushed me over the limit. I was like, that's it, I'm done. And I was really pissed off. I started picking up my knives because I had my own personal knives there. Started picking up all my stuff, gathering it, putting it in my bag. And then she's like,
what are you doing?
I said, I'm done. I'm finished. You don't need to yell at me like that. That's just disrespectful, rude, you know. So I don't need to take this from you. And what happened was then she's like, because she was a new manager, she didn't have anybody's number. And she asked for the executive chef's number. I was like, no, you can't have that. And she's like,
why not?
Because I don't want to give it to you. And then she's like,
okay, do you have the sous chef number?
I'm like, yeah.
Can I have that?
I'm like, no. And so then she got really ticked off, and then the waitresses were getting ticked off because they weren't getting their food. There was no dishwasher. There was nobody there to make food. And I stormed off and left, and that was the last day I worked there, and that really ticked me off. Now we're going to move on to number 3. My first day going into this restaurant as an executive chef. So what happened was it was a Friday, and Fridays are always busy, and they had an event going on at this, not at the restaurant, but on the street. So afterwards and before the event, we were going to be very, very busy. And I did not know this until I arrived, and there was only 3 people on the line cooking, and this should have been 4 people or 5 people cooking, but that was 3 people, including me. So it was 2 other people plus me, so it wasn't looking too good. But I'm like, all right, we can do it, not a problem. So it got very busy at the beginning, and the guy on my right, I didn't know at first, but it was his second day. I didn't know this, but anyways, he was doing a horrible job. He was asking this other guy over here a bunch of questions. I was trying to ask him a bunch of questions, and we both know how to cook. It's just knowing how to play it and what they do their way. And what happened was we started slowing down. Tickets were getting backed up. Our whole line was just full. It was longer than the line that's behind me here. It was full of tickets. So, and I was putting tickets in my pocket when the GM came back to help, and it was just a mess. So we ended up closing the kitchen probably for about a half hour just to catch up. And we did lose customers walking back out the door to go somewhere else. This was horrible. And to come to find out, I pulled this guy aside after everything happened at the end of the night. I'm like, dude, what's your issue? You did a horrible job. He's like, well, this is my second day. I was like, oh, okay. So that was kind of crazy, and that was very stressful at that time. But now looking back at it, it was kind of funny. Now we're going to be moving on to number 2. And with number 2 here, I had this was really crazy. We had a guy working for me. He was a busboy, and what this guy did was he got kind of angry. And what happened before that was we had music in the kitchen playing all the time, and I had Pandora on my phone running, or my own music running, whatever. There was music running, then it stopped for some reason. I can't remember why, but it did stop. And the guy's like, oh, where's the music? It was busy. I'm like, not right now, don't worry about it. And then he proceeded to say, hey man, I really need the music. I said, just not right now, we don't need it. And then he got really, really upset about that. And then what happened next was he decided he would take the quesadilla that was in front of him that needed to go to a customer. He took it, came around the line, and he threw it at me. I've never had a plate of food thrown at me before in my life, not even a regular food fight. Never had one of those before. And I was shocked when this happened. He threw this quesadilla at me. And on our quesadilla plates, we didn't put things in cups on the side. We just put it right on the plate. And we had sour cream, guacamole, and pico de gallo on that plate. And at that time, I was wearing a white chef coat, and I had sour cream all over my shoulder. I had guacamole all the way down in front of my shirt. And then that just really pissed me off and put me over the edge. I started screaming at him because he threw this big plate. This plate wasn't small. This was about like a 10-inch plate at least. And he threw that at me. It ricocheted, fell on the ground. You know, no one else got hurt, thank God. And it shattered on the ground. We had to clean it up, but before that happened, I started yelling at him. I said, you get the heck out of my kitchen right now. And I was just so angry. And I said, get out and never come back at all. And that was pretty crazy. And he never came back. I told him he can't come back to pick up his check. I said, don't even step foot in this restaurant or I will be calling the cops. So I was very angry about that. So I've never had that happen to me before. And that was the last time that's happened to me. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But anyways, so that was pretty crazy. Now we're going to be moving on to number 1. So this number 1 crazy thing that I've ever seen in my life working in this industry. And let me remind you, I've been in this industry for almost 11 years now. This was crazy. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. So usually on this night, I decide to throw something away. And when I threw this item away, the owner came back. He didn't know it at first. He's like, hey, where'd you put that? I said, well, it's in the walk-in. And I lied, obviously. It wasn't a good thing on my part, but I lied about it. Because I knew there was a bunch more back there. And then he went back there. He's like, no, the one you used tonight isn't back there. So what did he do? He started digging through the trash for it. I don't mean like it was on top. I mean, I buried this sucker so he wouldn't find it or see it. And he was digging through it. He was just full body in, digging for it. And then what happened was he found it. Then he rinsed it off and put it back in the cooler. I was stunned. I didn't know what to say at that point in time because I've never seen anybody do that. And I was just stunned. I don't know what anybody else would do in that situation, you know. And this is the owner, let me remind you, doing this. So I just didn't know what to say, you know. What can you say? You know, he's the owner. And then he took me aside and he, you know, told me, you know, you should never lie to me like that ever again and don't ever throw those out. And then I was like, yeah, but you just took that out of the garbage. He's like, I don't care, you know, and he went on and on about it. So now I don't throw that away anymore, but it was just mind-blowing how someone can just go through the garbage and rinse it off and call it good. Like, I didn't just have it on top of the garbage. I mean, this sucker was deep in the garbage, and I just was mind-blown. This was crazy. I just couldn't believe it, you know, so that's what happened there. So if you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, if you're stopping in for the first time, please hit that subscribe button right over there. Alright guys, if you like that video, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, if you're stopping in for the first time, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're on YouTube, it'll be right over there. If this is on Facebook, please hit it up above where it says sign up, please. That'll help me out so much. And also, if you guys are liking these videos, just come back every Monday and I'll have them just like this. So I'll see you guys next Monday.